Boom, get in and we're in. Welcome to the World Wide Web. And yes, we're on all social media platforms, but most importantly, LinkedIn. I'm Chris Grimes, broadcaster, facilitator, and motivational comedian. And welcome to another very exciting episode of the Good Listening To Show, Stories of Distinction and Genius. And today is a founder story episode where I'm thrilled and delighted to welcome Mike Garde on guard, because he's here on guard to help us with all things AI and automation. To make it all more human is the main cut and thrust of what we're up to. I'll contextualize a bit more about what you're about to listen to in a second. But first of all, welcome to the show, Mike Garde.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Lovely to be here. Appreciate you having me on.
You're welcome. That was the sound of one man clapping. You're very welcome. No extra charge.
That's what I'm used to.
So you're from MG Consulting, which sounds like you've got a classic car side hustle, but I know you haven't. As you're all about AI and automation, first of all, obviously, we need to confirm that you're not a chatbot. So, yes, you're smiling.
I can confirm that, yeah.
You can. And yes, and we were just having a nice comic exchange about which background to go for. Mike's gone for the digital nomad swanky background, but he's got some very nice, well, there's a screen of some brickwork, which we had a yin yang choice, but we've gone for the for the swanky digital nomad palace.
So my hand kind of disappears at different points. There we go.
Wonderful. You are a chatbot or yes. Anyway, you're not really. So if you're a business owner overwhelmed by the pace of tech, but curious, that's the really important thing about AI and what it can do for your business, then you've come to the right place. So if people don't have a frame of reference for you, Mike Garde, I met you through LinkedIn, and you know that clunky networking question, we've all got to field it. If somebody doesn't have a frame of reference and says, oh, hello, what do you do? What's your favorite way of either, well, escaping or answering that question, Mike?
Yeah, I want to democratize AI and automation for small businesses, because I'm finding the big businesses, they've been in the game for a while now, and they've got the money to throw at these things. Small, medium businesses, I think they're a bit overwhelmed with it all, as in with business itself, because so many things they have to deal with day to day, and AI is just another one of those things. But I want to show them how it can basically shortcut a lot of the things they do already and give them a lot more value, so they can concentrate on the things that they enjoy in the business rather than the mundane things that AI and automation could take care of.
And if I may, I am completely and utterly, thank you very much, your target market. You're completely talking to me there. And I'm sure that's resonating with an awful lot of other SMEs or SMEs. Because of my acting background, I can't resist saying SME, which is Peter Pan. Thank you very much. I've never played Peter Pan or SME, but SME's coming, I'm sure. Yes, so it's all about helping small businesses with the overwhelm. So without the overwhelm is one of your strap lines as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think so many people, I'm still seeing now, even though like AI, Chat GPT, things like that been out for a few years, still seeing people that haven't really used it hardly at all, especially in business. I think
you're talking to me again.
I think there's a lot of wariness still around it, especially in a business context. They might have played with it a little bit personally, but they're a bit worried about using it in business and how to use it effectively, I think.
And I described you as being a Chat GPT Whisperer, or a Chat GPT trainer is the more sort of official title, which makes it a bit like a lion tamer, but different.
Yeah, I'd say AI in general, not the ilks of Chat GPT, those types of tools in general. I mean, AI is a very broad term, so it covers loads of things like Netflix recommendations and things like that, But if we're talking about in the chatbot world, like I say, they're called large language models. So those are the things I train on and cover, things like Chat GPT. Yeah.
Wonderful. It's my great delight to welcome you to this show, where I'm going to curate you through a clearing, which is your serious happy place. There's going to be a tree, a lovely juicy storytelling exercise called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's going to be some alchemy, some gold, a couple of random squirrels, a cheeky bit of Shakespeare, a golden baton, and a cake. Hurrah! So it's all to play for. And we were riffing on whether you might even use a little bit of AI whilst we're talking. And I didn't know whether you'd thought about whether you're going to do that or not, because one of the times we first spoke, you had your phone in your hand and it was talking to us.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to ad lib with that. Not really put any thought into it, to be honest, but we'll just see what comes up. I'm happy to just riff and use it.
And now you're speaking my language, because I love comedy improvisation, and the mindset of yes and just improvise and riff with it is exactly what this show is about. Wonderful. So any questions before I begin to curate you through the journey? And at the very end, Sorry, I didn't give you the chance to say no questions or some questions, but at the very end, there's a very exciting section called Show Us Your QR Code, please, where we're going to be able to point people specifically to where we can come and find you to work with you within MG Consulting, which is actually called MG Performance Coaching.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, so let's get you on the open road. Mike, Garde, AI and automation consultant for SMEs. Where is what is a clearing or serious happy place for you? Where do you go to get clutter-free, inspirational and able to think?
Yeah, I haven't been to this place for quite a while, or these places. It's I think top of a big hill or a mountain, just like that perspective. It kind of puts life in perspective, I think, especially if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed or anything like that. It's good to get sort of see how small you are in some instances, really, in the scheme of things.
And the
Yeah, but
mountainscape you mentioned there was called the Kilroy, did you say?
I missed that, sorry.
Did you say an actual mountain called Kilroy then? Was I not hearing properly?
No. I said any type of mountain or big hill. So
Excellent.
just any.
Okay, and in order to sort of use that, what 3 words and pin the flag in the sand, would you like to pick a hill of or mountainscape of choice, and then I'll arrive with a tree in it?
Sure, let's go for Snowdonia. Yeah.
And when were you last in Snowdonia?
Oh, years ago. That's quite a long time ago now. But there's a nice thought, a nice association with it.
Lovely. So thank you. You're the first guest in circa 260 odd episodes who said Snowdonia. So bless you for that. What I love about this construct is everybody interprets this differently. So here we are in Snowdonia. I'm now going to arrive with a tree in your clearing. The invitation is to go where you like, how you like, when you like, as deep as you like into this construct. Obviously, this is a founder story, so we very, very much want to amplify all things MG performance coaching. But this is also finding out the story behind the story of Mike Garde and what you're here to help us all with. So I'm going to arrive now with a tree in Snowdonia, and I'm going to shake your tree to see which storytelling apples fall out. How do you like these apples? A couple of comedy props coming out, come in at various points. And this is where you've been kind enough to have thought about 4 things that have shaped you, 3 things that inspire you, 2 things that never fail to grab your attention. And I'll explain where squirrels come in that section. And then the 1 is a quirky or unusual fact about you, Mike, we couldn't possibly know about you until you tell us. It's not a memory test, which is reassuring for you, I'm sure, and I'll curate you through it. So over to you to interpret the shaking of the canopy of your tree as you see fit.
Yeah, I think 4 things that have shaped me. Well, number 1 being my parents. I guess that's true for most people. I think my mum was a very shy person, but very, very worrisome as well. She used to worry a lot. And but I remember she had this book, The Power of Positive Thinking. Absolutely years old. You have to be ancient like me to probably have heard of that. But I remember I was a very shy boy as well. And reading that kind of helped me get out of my comfort zone at the time. So I thought, okay, there's more I can do. There's ways I can change myself. And I think that's just been an evolving story over time, as in really embracing that, getting out of my comfort zone, seeing there's always space to, I don't know, to fill into, as in things I maybe couldn't conceive I could achieve a couple of years ago are now happening because, you're putting things in motion. So that'd be from my mum, from my dad. I mean, he just had an amazing work ethic, and I really admire him. And my mum passed away in 2011, and watching how my dad sort of dealt with that, because it was a protracted. She had an operation that went wrong, basically, and it was a protracted hospital visits that we had to go to. It was in Australia. I had to sort of fly out there.
They'd emigrated, had they?
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother story. Yeah, we immigrate. I was brought up out there, came back over here when I was about 10. I've been here pretty much ever since. But they've been out there, my brother, etc. But just watching him sort of go down those hospital corridors every day, and the love and the compassion, and just the pain he went through. It just I really looked up at him as my hero during that time. The way he handled all that.
And he's still with us by the sound of how you're describing him.
He is. He's 89. Yeah, he's we're turning 89 in a few weeks' time. Yeah, still driving as well. But
and that was such a beautiful description of your mum. Very poignant to say that she was shy and worrisome.
Yeah.
And then
Yes, and I think the trouble is, as a kid, you imbue, I think, a lot of those things. If you're looking at a parent that's worried, you kind of think, oh shit, there must be something to worry about.
yes.
And I think I took that on board back then, but yeah, I couldn't be more different now. But I think my mum, I don't know, she had a lot of belief in me, and she nurtured me in such a way that I feel like, I do believe totally in myself, and in what's possible.
And the power of positive thinking with how you're helping people now getting through their fear bubble of, don't be scared of this stuff. There is a way to whisper it. And so that's what's helpful about, ironically, coming full circle, what you're doing now.
Yeah, I would say the power of positive thinking is not something I really ascribe to anymore. I think that's outdated. As in, it's not that I'm very positive about doing things, but I just don't think that's the way to do it as such.
Yes.
But back then it was useful.
I don't just mean cheesy optimism, just say yes to everything, because we've got to be very discerning about what we also
Yes,
say no to as well.
yeah.
But I think there's a lovely route there in being positive and affirmative about it's the action
Absolutely.
towards it's going to change stuff.
Yeah, I think we see life through a lens, and I mean, you're wearing glasses, I wear glasses to read, and whatever glasses we're looking through at that particular time, if we're in a good mood, the world looks a better place generally.
Yes.
And same as if we're looking at things with fear, as in AI or anything, the world looks like a more fearful place. We've got our fearful glasses on, and I think I generally, we all fall into those traps. All of us do, because we're all human. But I think the more you can see, it's just composed of your thinking and your perception at that particular time.
Yes.
The more you can kind of step out of that and see the world in different ways.
And if I may ask, this is an extra question.
Yeah,
Have you told your dad that he's your hero?
I did. Yeah. I think I pretty much did that during the funeral ceremony for my mum. To be honest, yeah.
Well, I was just suddenly lingering on that. Is at the very end, I'll be describing to the audience, those that are watching, a construct called Legacy Life Reflections, which is where I interviewed my own dad. He's no longer with us, but I got him in the house in days of his 80s, and he was, a hero of mine too.
Yeah.
Lovely. So, shapeage number 1 is your wonderful conditioning of the yin yang of your parents. Then now, shapeage number 2, please.
Yeah, I mean, it's very related. It's just pushing myself out of my comfort zone. It's been, I think, since my teenage years, something I've done perpetually my whole life. And it sounds kind of weird. I guess it's almost not that uncomfortable getting out of my comfort zone.
Nice to put.
Yeah, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I think I've just been doing it so many times now. It's just feels a natural thing to progress, to push outside the boundaries that I may feel confined in at any particular time.
I've heard that described as get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and then that's how your comfort, risk, panic sort of universe expands.
I think that's a really great way to put it. Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
you're welcome.
I'm going to note that one down. But yeah, I think that's just a way again of taking on whatever the world may throw at you, and also whatever you aspire to. So,
yes.
I mean, I don't think anything comes on a plate. You've got to push yourself towards it and expand into that role,
Yes. And someone very wise who's out there called Dave Stewart taught me the idea that when life throws you curveballs, it's just a plot twist. It's not over till it's over. Plot twist. It's just a plot twist. Our story is not over until it's over.
Yeah, and we're all made up of our experiences, right? And all the things that have gone beforehand, whether they've been life lessons, as in things that may not have gone according to your plans, but it's taken us to where we are right now. And
yes.
I think that's always valuable to look back on those things as lessons and ways that have shaped us to where we are now and who we are now.
And you may be getting onto this, but are you a parent yourself as well?
You know what? That's number 3. Yeah.
Oh, come in. Number 3, please. I've got a bell. Actually, number 3, please. This is shapeage number 3.
Yeah. So being a parent and grandparent. So both of those things. I think being a parent, I look back now, I was very busy up here in my head. So, work and trying to raise a family. And I think, I was probably a little bit more impatient than I'd like looking back now, because it always feels hard back then. Well, it felt to me that it was hard back then, trying to get everything working at the same time, and raise a family, etc. So now I'm trying to make the time with my grandkids more important, that bit more special. Really being in the moment with them, throwing myself into them a lot more, just being silly, playing with them, and just enjoying life with them, really. And it's just such a lovely feeling when they turn up and they're so pleased to see you. It's a beautiful thing.
It's either get grandkids or a dog, because the dog is the thing that's always going to be pleased to see you, whatever life throws at you.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I've got a cat. Doesn't work quite the same way.
No, cats don't give a shit. And I love the carpe diemness of now being willing to get down on the carpet and play with the grandkids, which is great. How old are your grandchildren?
Okay, well, I've got there's a bit of a story there. I mean, we've got 6 grandkids, the 7th on the way, but we did have 8.
Oh.
We lost. So my wife and I didn't have kids together. We've come together with 2 separate families. So my wife's daughter, her son passed when he was 13. That was in 2021. So we lost that grandson, Callum. He was, that was quite the blow, and obviously still affects the family very much now.
Of course.
But his brother, his younger brother, he's now 13 as well. God, his towers over me already, which is quite scary. And so we got them from 13 down to 2, and like I say, another one on the way. So
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that as well, and I'm sorry for the loss for the family, which is
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, all these things shape us, don't they? And
yes.
Have a massive impact on our lives and how we see the world. So
Shapeage, I believe, number 4 now, please.
yeah. So this one is more recent. This is when did I probably come across it? It's probably around about 2020. So just before the death of our grandson, which helped me sort of deal with that a lot better. It's something called the 3 principles. It's like a coaching philosophy, I guess, or way of seeing things. It's by a philosopher called Sydney Banks came up with the term. He had a bit of an enlightening experience, and it's about the 3 principles. They're made up of mind, consciousness, and thought, and it's about basically we're creating the world day to day, our own reality from our thoughts. So it's a thought generated reality we live in all the time. So whatever we perceive is real to us at that particular point in time.
And how did you experience this? Was this a book that you picked up, or was this a...
No. I actually went on a training, as in a virtual training.
Yep.
So I was reading, I was watching a course about this. It did a really good marketing job. It took me in. I was like, that sounds great. And I watched it and I was really disappointed. I thought, oh, what a load of crap. I wasted some money there. And I don't know what it was, but a few months later, I went back to it. I thought, there must be something in there. I got nothing to lose. And I think the first video, it just hit me, kind of like an insight, a realization. Suddenly, it just changed the way I saw things massively. And that's stuck with me now. And that was because I was a coach as well. I trained as a coach and transitioned into that type of coaching, 3 principles. I think it's so powerful. The way the idea is we're only ever 1 thought away from, happiness or misery, to be honest.
Yes.
However we want to see the world. But it's really, really been powerful for me.
And the main advocate of that 3 philosophy approach is who again?
It's Sydney Banks. Bizarrely, is a Scottish welder. So not someone you think as coming up with this kind of thing, but like I say, he had a bit of an enlightening experience. His life changed. The people around him kind of perceived him as different, and he went on and kind of founded this bit of movement. He's passed away now, but
So
quite a
he's
few years ago.
doing a bit of a Dale Carnegie in that Sydney Banks is doing a Scottish welding version of Dale Carnegie by the sound of it, by leaving us with a really profound, simple but profound philosophy.
Yeah, I think it's it's very much based on, it's not something you kind of follow, or it's not like a religion or anything. It's just literally a way of understanding the world and
Yeah.
ourselves a bit better. Yeah.
I'm really glad you shared that. That's also, it's a real testament to when our synapses are when we're receptive or not to something that's trying to teach us something, and the fact you went back to it and reincorporated it and revisited it. And I'm very happy for you that you did, because
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes things that are meant for us have passed us by and we need to go back to them.
Yeah, and like I say, this is massive, so I'm glad, it's been a massive impact on my life. So I'm really glad I did fortuitously go back.
Great sharing. Thank you so much. So that's
Yeah.
the 4 sheepages. Now we're on to 3 things that inspire you. Mike Garde, AI and automation consultant for SMEs. SMEs.
Okay, this is going to sound very conceited now, but I'm going to say myself. I inspire myself, as in.
I also say, if no one has ever yet, I love that. Do you know what? I'm awesome. I love that. That's brilliant. No one has said that yet. I think that's fantastic.
I think it's just a case of, and again, this could come over the wrong way, but it's not meant in any way like
It
that.
hasn't, I promise.
As in, nowadays I kind of love myself. I didn't back a few years ago, and I'm the believer that the way you can give the most in life, like love and affection, is you've got to start with yourself, and then you've got plenty to give outwards as well. So, a bit of understanding, compassion for yourself. I think you've got more for other people when you do that too. So it's just, like I say, from the teenager I was, when I was a very shy teenager who couldn't, I struggled to join in conversations. I thought I was hanging out with my mates. I thought I was joining in conversations, but I was kind of more thinking things. And they'd say, "Aren't you going to say anything?" And they really, really had to pull information out of me back then. And the journey I've been on in lots of different ways since then. I'm just seeing, and when I say I inspire myself, I'm thinking this for all people. We should all inspire ourselves, because if you look back on your life journey and what you've done from, I don't know, from, like, say, when you was a teenager or something, and the whole journey you've come, what's made you, what's created you from that time, how you've created yourself in that time. I think it's quite amazing what we can do when we put our minds to it.
I love that. That's a
Yeah,
beautiful philosophy about a bit of unconditional self-regard, a bit of self-love. Put your own mask on first, and then you can help the world in everything that you're there to help with.
absolutely. Yeah, and definitely not in a conceited way. I'm
No, no,
not.
it really didn't. I
Yeah,
promise you, I laughed very deeply and authentically then. I thought that was great. So thank you for inspiring yourself and us, because it is really valuable what you're saying.
yeah, and I think another thing that inspires me is nature. And nature's always inspired me. I've always found it beautiful and fascinating. But I guess part of this 3 principles kind of philosophy, as well as being in the moment, being present. Because usually when we're, I don't know, when we're sad or something like that, it's usually because we're thinking about something that's happened in the past. So that means we're not in the moment now. Our heads are in the past somewhere. If we're anxious or worried about something, it's usually something about the future. So that means our minds are in the future. We're not in the moment again.
Yes.
When we're in the moment, I don't know, we're often not in any type of pain or anything. We can just experience what's happening right now. And
And have you heard those pockets of happiness that are right in front of us all the time? They're called glimmers, little pockets of happiness that are glimmers if you're truly present.
yeah, I think the thing is with this, it's, life is a roller coaster for everyone, and you're not going to be happy all the time or anything like that. I don't ascribe to you should be. I don't think you'd appreciate or even know what happiness is if there was a perpetual state of it. It'd just be a standard state. But it's I think it's a beautiful thing being present in the moment. It's like, especially like I say with nature, just when you're on a walk, just looking at a plant or anything like that, just looking at the marveling of how these things are created, how they're made, no matter what your belief system is.
Yes.
It's just absolutely, amazing what's out there just in front of us that we walk past all day, every day.
Yeah.
And take for granted.
A recent 84-year-old beautiful guest called Christine Marsh described a cataract operation, after which immediately she burst into tears looking at a dandelion, just reminding ourselves we take so for granted in nature.
And that's beautiful. That's amazing. And I think we do. Yeah, I think we all take things for granted, me included. And that's why it's really nice being present sometimes and in the moment as much as possible. Again, I'm not perfect. I won't be in the moment most of the time, but it's really nice to try and be present. It's like, I guess it's like these people that do take nature walks, but then they've got their head in the phone while they're walking along. Or I'm not knocking anyone for doing any of this. I've done all this myself. Probably stood it, and or a podcast or anything like that. But you're not present. You're present to the podcast. You're not present to your environment.
Yes.
It's just nice sometimes to just really get present. And when I allude back to my grandkids and things like that, that's about being present with them, being silly with them. I mean, my wife often talks to me like, "Oh, do you know about my daughters and things?" So I said no, because I've not been talking to them as much as just been there with my grandkids. So she does all the talking with adults. I do all the silly, crazy stuff with the kids, and I get lost in the moment there. But I love it. Absolutely destroys me physically, but I love it.
And congratulations for being so monumentally present for them. I'm sure they love it too, because of the law of reciprocity. That's lovely.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes. Is that 3 things that inspire?
No, that was 2. Sorry. I hope I'm not running this too much. I think inspire me, one of them's got to be, I'm a geek, I'm a nerd. It's got to be technology. Things like AI, obviously. Things like robotics that are out there now. I mean, they're crazy, some of these things. A bit scary, really, especially if you team AI up with these things. I don't know if you've seen some of these robots that can run, bipedal robots and things. I think I don't fancy one of those chasing me down the street with
Robocop is coming. We know that.
Yeah. So and also things like, I mean, one of the people I used to look up to a lot was Elon Musk. Not so much now with the political stuff, but I mean the visionary stuff I still really enjoy, and like SpaceX. I mean, I think when I first saw his spacecraft or the engines land themselves, it's like watching something from sci-fi,
Yes.
And some of these robots as well now, they're absolutely crazy. But those things really kind of get me excited, if you know what I mean.
And wonderful that you're on the cutting edge of it, and yet you also said, "Oh, it's scary too." So the changes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've seen quite a few people, influential people. Gary Vaynerchuk, for instance, they're saying like, some of this AI stuff they really wish they could wind back themselves, but hey, we can't. We're in it. Let's make the best of it, And I think where we are,
it's the Frankenstein's monster. We have created a monster, but also it's something that could be incredibly helpful, provided we, guide it and counsel it. Well, it'll counsel us probably, and then destroy. Anyway, I'm kidding.
Well, this is the trouble, Chris. I mean,
yes.
In regards to AI, it's like an arms race between China and America. So there's very little regulation of it, because neither of them wants to get left behind. So it is a little bit scary for sure in that regard. The things we're doing with it right now, not so much, because they can help us and help businesses. Apart from obviously the things like the deep fakes, they can be a bit controversial, worrying, because false information can get out there easily.
Yes, there's definitely a yin yang going on. There's a dark web, light web, dark web, light web.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we can bring our little friend into the conversation if you want for a moment.
Our little friend? Oh yes, let's bring our little friend in. Sorry, I was about to talk about squirrels. So I was thinking of little friend. So yes, squirrels are coming. But yes, what would you like to do with our little friend? I'd forgotten about that. Thank you.
Well, let's just ask it on its take on the future of AI.
So just to explain to listeners, you're about to go in onto Chat GPT and do a bit of taming.
That's right. Okay, so I'm just going to use the mobile phone version. You can get a free version of this. This is the paid version. It's about $20 a month. Just going to click the round circle icon there so I can literally chat to it. You have to tell me if you can hear it, Chris.
Yep.
Hey, chat. How you doing?
Hey, Mike. I'm doing great, thanks. How about you? You all set for your podcast later?
Oh yeah, I was telling it about I was going to be on the podcast, Chris. Yeah, yes, I'm actually on it right now. So I just want to ask you a question because we're talking about. I'm a bit of a nerd sometimes about technology, and we're just wondering where AI is going. And there's very light touch regulation on AI, and what are the possibilities? I don't know, what are the possible dark places it could go, or what are the possible implications of it creating amazing things in our lives in the future? What's your take on it?
Oh, that's such a cool topic. AI definitely has so much potential for good, like revolutionizing healthcare, making education more accessible, and even helping businesses like yours streamline processes. But on the flip side, there are definitely concerns around ethics, privacy, and how we keep AI from being used in harmful ways. It's definitely a balancing act.
And can you speak to how it could evolve? Well, say we get to AGI for your listeners, that's AI is getting to like a general intelligence of humanity, as in, or exceeding humanity's intelligence. So if you got to an AGI state, what are the risks for humanity?
Yeah, AGI is kind of the big frontier, isn't it? If we ever reach that level, it could be incredible because you'd have a machine that can learn and reason like a human, or even beyond that. The risks, though, could be significant. There's the concern that an AGI could act in ways we don't intend or can't control. There's also the ethical side of how we align its goals with human values. So it's definitely exciting, but something we have to approach thoughtfully.
There we go. So that's your next guest on the show, is it?
I would say so, as in that was incredibly impressive and a bit of a world exclusive for me. That's the first time I've ever experienced that. And thank you so much for doing it live on air as well. That was fantastic.
Yeah,
and in terms of the sampling of the voice and where that comes from, is that sampled from a human voice or is it totally constructed?
As far as I'm aware, they've had actors record these voices originally, and I guess they've extrapolated from that.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as I know, they're actors' voices initially. Yeah.
And it was incredibly authentic, even to the point of little bits of redundant speech in there as well. I think it's like was one of the things that I noticed he'd said. If you asked him what his name was, what would he tell you?
Well, can we try that? It's up to you. I'm
Okay.
not sure. I don't even know if I've named him at one point, but let's have a look. So let's get the back up. Here we go. So Chris, the podcast host, was just asking, if we were to ask you what your name is, what would you say?
Well, you can just call me Chat GPT. I'm like your friendly AI assistant, always here to help out and chat about whatever you like.
If you had to give yourself a name, a human-sounding name, what would it be?
Oh, that's a fun question. I think I'd go with something like Charlie. It's friendly, easygoing, and kind of suits an AI, don't you think?
That's
I think
fine.
so. CGI Chuck, I'd be going
I'm
for.
glad you think so. If you or Chris have any.
And can I ask you one question? Can just as we're live on air, can you just tell us a joke, please, Charlie?
Oh, hold on. You have to ask him in a sec. Let me just get him up. Okay. I'm just telling you now, Chris, the jokes are pretty appalling.
Which is why it's important. I've still got a job, everyone. This is great.
Hold on. Let's get him back up. Okay. Can you hear Chris? He just wants to ask you a question, chat. Okay. Or Charlie, as we'll call you now.
I'm calling you Charlie. Charlie, at this point, you're my Chat GPT Chuck. So can you tell me a joke, please, as this is a podcast that's run by a motivational comedian?
I don't think he heard that. So let me just run that by him again. So Chris, the podcast host, is a motivational comedian, and he'd love you to tell him a joke, please. He wants to know that he's not going to be out of a job in a few weeks' time. It definitely isn't. Let me try that again.
Well, you've stunned Dan, our podcast editor, will know what to do at this moment.
Hey, Charlie, can you tell us a joke, please? We've got our Chris Grimes, our motivational comedian, is our host. So could you tell him a joke? And he just wants to know he's going to still be in a job in a couple of weeks' time.
Absolutely, I'd love to. All right, here we go. Why did the Scarecrow become a successful comedian?
I don't know.
Because
Why?
he was outstanding in his field.
So
hopefully that gives Chris a run for his money.
Tragically, it did actually. Floated my boat. Thank you very much. Thank you, Charlie. And also thank you, Mike, for introducing Charlie Chat GPT. That was extraordinary. Thank you so much. So yes, please, if you want to comment on what you thought about that, please do as we go, as we're obviously doing this live as well. And now, thank you so much for doing that, Mike. Anything else you want to say about that before I move us on?
Yeah, I would just say, I mean, in a real world scenario, I mean, we've used it in a contrived way, but I think, I'll go for a walk and this is going to sound crazy now because I'm saying about being in the moment earlier, but I'll go for a walk, take my phone, and sometimes I'll riff with Charlie there. I don't like the name, but I'll riff with ChatGPT and, with my bit about my business and find out ideas and, and come up with good strategies going forwards. And the thing is, it's all captured in text as well. So you can go back and refine it and everything. So I find it really great as a business tool.
Thank you very much. And now we're moving on to the 2 in the tree, which is squirrels. This is borrowed from the film Up, where the dog goes, "Oh, squirrels. What are your 2 monsters of distraction, your 2 shiny object syndrome, as they're also called? What never failed to stop you in your tracks, irrespective of anything else that's going on for you in your wonderful life?"
Okay, well, this is, I've got it right. I wasn't sure if it was the right take or not, but it is by the sounds of it. Okay, my cat, number 1.
Your cat is your squirrel.
Yeah, that's one of my squirrels. It's it's just got a certain cry that, and we had 2 cats. One passed away earlier in the year recently, and same for that cat as well. I don't know. I'm like their little butler. When they cry, I'm there. We're having tea at night, and the patio door's behind me. Even though we've got a cat flap, the cat won't go through that. Well, it can, but it determines not to. Instead, it scratch on the patio door. I'll open it, let it out if it decides to go out. Same for it coming in. And if we're having our tea, my wife drives her crazy that I do that. So,
and you were referring it to it affectionately there. So has Tiddles got a name? So big shout out for Tiddles. What's your cat's name?
Daisy.
Daisy. So Daisy is the queen of your domain. We get that because she's always got Mike playing around on the cat flap. I mean, why open the cat flap if Mike's going to open it for you? I mean, really.
Exactly.
I'm on Daisy's side. Lovely. So next squirrel.
Yeah, I'd say my phone. It's too easy to get scrolling on there. I mean, I'm on social media channels like LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, as in I produce content for them. But the trouble is, when I'm looking to see if there's anything interesting or someone's commented, I get dragged in and start scrolling mindlessly, and they're a major distraction for me. And I look at it far too much. I need to do a little bit of a detox, I think, to some degree.
Again, that's so relatable. My phone is called my EYB by my wife, particularly my evil yellow box. And so we all need a detox. And I hear you, we all hear you, but we all need to do it more.
Yeah.
But great to name it as your squirrel. I think it'd be a squirrel I'd name for myself as well. So again, that's very relatable.
Yeah, and I didn't really see that till I was going through the questions earlier. And but it is a distraction. I'm constantly reaching for it. I think also if I'm working, there's those tasks you kind of procrastinate on.
Yeah.
I'll just pick up my phone, have a look at something for a minute, and before you know it, quite a few minutes have gone by, and you're not getting the task done. So again, very distracting.
We all know what the solution is. Daisy needs to go out the cat flap for a change with your phone. Job done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now it's the one is the quirky or unusual fact about you, Mike Garde, that we couldn't possibly know about you until you tell us.
Okay, well, this is unusual rather than quirky. So I think this was 2011. We was on holiday in Turkey and had a lovely Turkish meal around a restaurant at the hotel resort we're in. I woke up next morning and my face was tingling. It was kind of crazy. Well, long story short, I'd been really badly sick that night as well. Almost like my stomach felt like it wanted to burst. I'd never felt anything like it. So got that sorted out. My face was kind of tingling. It was really weird. It was sort of all right at the top of my lips and things, and did a bit of a Google, as you do. I was thinking, and it come out with like it could be electrolytes imbalance and things like this. So I went to the pharmacy, tried to get some sort of salts and things like that. I think I did try consulting a doctor there, but the language barrier wasn't great. So I thought I'll wait till I get home. And basically, the upshot of it is I've got some nerve damage down the left side of my face now. So I can't feel anything on the left side of my face at all. It's kind of like on the left side of my mouth. It's like when you've been to the dentist, they give you that injection.
Yeah.
So, if food goes in that side of my mouth, I can't literally feel it. It might pop out an hour later, the other side. I think, oh, where'd that come from? It's kind of weird in that respect. The most annoying thing about it is I'll get an itch at the top of my forehead or something. And although I can feel the itch, no matter how much I kind of try and scratch it, I can't feel the relief from the scratch.
Gosh.
That's just kind of weird.
And there's no other external evidence of that, as in that sounds almost like a sort of stroke.
Yeah, it's literally just nerve damage. Just
caused by was the food connected? Was it a food?
I think so. Well, I'm thinking. I mean, because that was the only precursor to it.
Yes.
To be honest, when I turned up at the doctors, they said, "Oh, it's going to be A&E." It was. They said it'll be shingles, sort of thing, but it wasn't. Then I came in to the eye casualty because my vision got blurry. And it's because the eye doesn't moisturize itself anymore.
Yeah.
So I have to put in eye drops now. But that's the way I found out that it's nerve damage. Basically, they did several investigations and worked it out.
And you've made peace with it, and it's nothing you can do anything more about by the sound of it.
It's just part of life. It's fine. Yeah.
And I suppose the grandkids can sort of twang you more on that side, and you won't feel the pain.
Yeah, they could do.
We have shaken your tree, my God. Wonderful. Yeah. Now we're staying in the clearing, which is Snowdonia, and now we're going to move into talking about alchemy and gold. When you're at purpose and in flow, what are you absolutely happiest doing in what you're here to reveal to the world?
I mean, I really want to make things like AI accessible, but I want to do it in a way that I want to bring those coaching skills I had as well before, make it definitely human relatable. I've been a software engineer for about 30 years, a software consultant. So I've got the tech background, but I don't want to be techie because overly techie, because businesses don't relate to that. That's not how you help them. I want to, come at it from the human perspective and let them see that, take that fear out of it, if you like. I've been to so many companies and leadership teams where people have been fearful and everything, but I like to do a very hands-on approach where people experiment and make it relatable and fun for them, so they can see the benefits, to their business right away.
And that's exactly why I first got in touch with you, because you just seem to me like the cut of your jib is you're humanizing it all, and I think that's a really powerful thing to be doing. You do it through a Facebook group as well, don't you?
Yeah, I have a Facebook group. That's called the AI Advantage, and that's a useful group. I post a little bit in there time to time about little tidbits from my trainings and AI in general, things that are topical at the time, and to all my other channels as well.
Wonderful. And in terms of your dream target market audience, like me, and thank you, we've agreed we're going to do a reciprocal thing whereby you're in the show and then you're going to help me with a few things as well, and that's wonderful. Thank you. But who would you say is your sort of ideal, sometimes called a client avatar, but who's your favorite type of client?
Yeah, I think it is more leadership teams, like the whole team, leadership teams. I think in SMEs. I mean, I've done quite a few one-to-one trainings. I'm doing a couple now with people. One's a lawyer, and they're having coaching and AI training, alternate weeks. One's a coach who's having AI training, I've also trained the founder of New Look, so not the current CEO of New Look, but the founder in AI. So trained him and some other CEOs sort of one-to-one, which has been really nice. And then, but yeah, leadership teams where you see a few people and they're all at different levels. Some people are saying, I can't see how this is going to benefit us at all. And then within an hour or two, they're like, "Oh wow, I get it now." And
Yes.
that's just a really great feeling when you see that.
And I loved how you describe it's how to, and your language choice is really good in everything I was researching, but how to harness AI without the overwhelm is a really good strap line.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Because I think, too many people get lost in the fear of it all, I think. And let's face it, it seems like there's a new AI tool coming out every other day. And
Yes.
I mean, it's overwhelming for anyone in the field. I think there's just no way you can keep up with everything.
Yes.
So it's good. I mean, my advice to anyone is if you go dabbling in AI, just stick to at most 3 different things and get to know them well. And, before moving on to anything else.
And just one other thing in researching you, how to embrace everything you're talking about without the jargon, the hype, or the headaches, which I think was a really nice way to. You're a poet and you didn't know it, which is great.
AI might have helped me a little bit with that.
Therein lies the truth. Absolutely. So now I'm going to award you with a cake, Mike. So do you like cake?
Yeah, I'm not that keen on those types of cakes. Cheesecake is this cake.
Okay, I was going to ask you what's the cake of choice.
Yeah.
Cheesecake. I have recently started a relationship, a sort of professional relationship with somebody called Anna's Cakes. Guess what she makes? And so in time, as this evolves and grows, you'll end up actually getting an actual cake, but this is a metaphorical cake. So carrot cake, I like the cut of your jib.
Yeah,
This is a dog toy carrot cake. So thank you very much. You get to put a cherry on the cake now with stuff like, what's a favorite inspirational quote that's always given you succor and pulled you towards your future?
Okay. So this is by Sydney Banks, the founder of the 3 Principles. And
Wilbur from Scotland.
Yeah, I just love this. So your thoughts are like the artist's brush. They create a personal picture of the reality you live in. And to me, that just speaks to, if you are the artist, we can change the picture.
And just say it one more time, just to deliberately reincorporate it.
Yep. So your thoughts are like the artist's brush. They create a personal picture of the reality you live in.
Lovely quote. With the gift of hindsight, what notes, help, or advice might you proffer to a younger version of Mike Garde? You talked about your conditioning through your parents and everything else, but anything pick an age and tell me what you'd tell yourself.
I think it'd be those awkward teenage years. I'd just say, because at that time, socially, I was awkward. So I'd say, keep pushing out of that comfort zone, because that's where the good stuff is. That's where it lives. And try to be, again, as present as possible. Because then again, I think whenever we get caught up in thought, as in unhelpful thought, that's when we get lost and we're not present and we don't get the most out of life. It's only when we're kind of totally present to things we get the most value out of them.
And can I just congratulate you for the turn of phrase, because that's where the good stuff lives.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Lovely. We're going to ramp up. Oh, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given by somebody else?
Okay, this is also a quote, so I'm going to have to read this one off my screen, so give me a second. But this is what helped me make the leap into my business. And this is from a guy called William H. Murray. Now, his pedigree isn't amazing from my point of view, but his quote is, so, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. And I think that was my coach at the time telling me, put a date on what you want to move into this full time. Have you put a date on it yet? No, I hadn't. So, and I think he brought out that quote, and I put a date on it, and I think April this year was the time I was meant to be going to business full time, but it happened in October last year because things happened when I really committed to it. Things did feel like they moved for me as well, towards me.
That was just gorgeous as a quote. And Dan, my podcast editor, we need to make a reel of that exact moment, because that was not me doing that. But what Mike just said was brilliant. And now, inspired by Shakespeare, all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. When all is said and done, we're going to talk about legacy now. How, when all is said and done, Mike Garde, AI and automation consultant for SMEs, how would you most like to be remembered?
Yeah, and I'm going to give Chat GPT a little bit of credit here. I did come up with the idea, but it's helped me reform it into a better way of saying it. So to be a guiding light for my grandchildren, to help them achieve their dreams and leaving them knowing that life is how you paint it. If we're referring back to that other quote from earlier, I think that's important to me, to give them my attention and help them as much as I can.
That legacy is secure, Mike Garde. That was lovely. And now, Joe, our beautiful technician next door, is going to help us with show us your QR code, please. So first of all, where can we find out all about on the old interweb? There is a QR code you can scan coming up for it's MG Performance Coaching. First of all, just tell us the URL for that.
Yeah, it's literally what you said. So www.mgperformancecoaching.com. Bit of a mouthful. It goes back to the days when I was purely coaching. Maybe that'll change over time, but we'll see.
And this isn't fixing your classic car, MG. This is fixing your AI automation, MG.
Yeah, MG for Mike Garde.
I see what you did there. I did figure that out. That was lovely. And now, if you want to connect with Mike Garde on LinkedIn, here it comes. Show us your QR code, please. That's now connecting with Mike Garde. You could well be watching it here on LinkedIn as well, which is where most of your target market are hanging out, I believe. That's where all the good stuff goes out here. Lovely. Just a couple of announcements from me. If you'd like to connect with me, Chris Grimes, on LinkedIn, you can do that too. Here comes another QR code. This is very exciting, all of this. There you are. You could be on there anyway. Motivational comedian, mojo coach, all that shebang. And very, very excitingly, just to make a serious point, there is a new series strand that's been there all along in the mountainscape of the Good Listening To show. It's called LegacyLifeReflections.com. And it's a series strand to help you to record either your story or the story of somebody near, dear, or close to you for posterity, without any morbid intention, but lest we forget before it's too late. My own father, Colin Grimes, I recorded him in the halcyon days of his 80s about 5 years ago. Now that I still have that film of him, he died last August, I can't tell you how precious it is, because what we miss the most when we've lost that precious, special someone is what they sounded like, the sound of their voice. So this is a way of using this storytelling construct to, as I say, capture that story for somebody precious. So the websites for the show are thegoodlistening2show.com if you'd like a conversation about guesting too. This has been a founder story with Mike Garde. Now back to you, Mike Garde. As this has been your moment in the sunshine in the Good Listening To show, stories of distinction and genius for your special founder story, is there anything else you'd like to say?
I think pretty much covered everything there, Chris. It got me thinking all these nice questions, thinking about things. It's always good to take stock. So I thank you for the preparation, as in to prepare me for this, as in question-wise. So it's given me lots of food for thought.
And thank you for being quite the philosopher, and thank you for resharing Sydney Banks as an extraordinary font of wisdom. Just a final announcement. Very excitingly, Rob Brydon is going to be my live theatre show guest here in Bristol. There's only about 10 tickets left, apparently. It's sort of selling itself without me really needing to talk very much about it. But Rob Brydon is coming to do the Good Listening To show live in Bristol in a couple of weeks' time on Saturday, the 5th of July. And there he is again in a poster, which I don't have time to unfold. Anyway, thank you very much indeed. Also to Joe, our lovely technician next door. I've been Chris Grimes, but most importantly, this has been Mike Garde from MG Performance Coaching. Anything else you'd like to say, Mike?
I'd just like to say thank you very much, Chris, and Joe, obviously, as well, for the technical help. But yeah, thanks very much, Chris, for having me on. It's been a pleasure.